Most people think you need at least $500,000 to build a real farmhouse from scratch in 2026. This couple did it for $250,000, and the house they ended up with looks like something out of a magazine. No inheritance, no rich uncle, no winning the lottery, just 5 years of patience, a camper trailer, a few thousand brutal mosquito bites, and a spreadsheet they refuse to ignore. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how they pulled off a build that most contractors would quote at $400,000 or more, where every single dollar went, the 3 decisions that saved them the most money, and the 1 mistake that almost blew their entire budget. So stick around, because the breakdown at the end is the part everyone asks about in the comments. Before we get into it, if you're even thinking about building your own place one day, hit subscribe now, because this channel breaks down real build costs from real people, not contractor sales pitches. Okay, let's get into the story. Part 1. The land came first. Every affordable farmhouse story starts the same way, and it's not with blueprints, it's with land. This couple didn't buy a finished lot in a subdivision with a homeowners association and underground utilities already installed. They bought raw, unimproved land, acreage with no road access yet, no power line run to it, no septic, nothing. That's exactly why it was cheap. Rural raw land in 2026 typically runs $5,000 to $15,000 an acre, a fraction of what a fully serviced lot costs in the same county. Once they had the land, they didn't rush to build. They lived on it first, in a camper trailer, for years, dealing with outdoor showers, freezing pipes in winter, and learning the property through every season before laying a single foundation stone. That sounds extreme, but it's actually one of the smartest financial moves in this entire story, and I'll explain why in a minute. Part 2. The decision that saved them. 6 figures. Here's the part most people skip when they dream about building a house. They hire an architect, get a beautiful custom design, and then get a quote back that makes their stomach drop. This couple flipped that order. Instead of designing the dream first and pricing it second, they decided their budget first, and then designed around it. That meant choosing a simple rectangular footprint instead of a complex one with lots of corners and roof lines, because every corner and roof intersection adds labor and material cost. It meant settling on a modest, efficient footprint of around 2,000 square feet. Not a mansion, not a tiny home, but something sized to what they actually needed instead of what looked impressive online. And it meant acting as their own general contractor, hiring and scheduling subcontractors themselves, instead of paying a builder a management fee on top of everything else. That last point alone is often where 12 to 20% of a build budget disappears, paid to a general contractor for coordination. They took that job on themselves. It meant more stress, more phone calls, more chasing electricians and framers. But it kept tens of thousands of dollars in their own pocket instead of someone else's. Part 3. Where the money actually went. Let's get into the numbers, because this is what you're really here for. The national average for a standard new build in 2026 sits around $150 to $195 per square foot, not counting land. For their 2,000 square foot layout, hitting a $250,000 total meant landing hard construction costs around $125 a square foot. Well below average, but realistic once you account for owner-builder savings, a strict rectangular shape, heavy sweat equity, and building in a lower-cost rural region where base costs already run closer to $100 to $110 a square foot. Here's roughly how that budget broke down. Foundation and site work, typically 8 to 12% of total budget. This includes clearing, grading, the foundation pour, and bringing in water and power if they aren't already on site. It's also worth being honest about something here, because they saved so much by buying raw land. A real chunk of that savings had to go right back into this category, drilling a well and putting in a septic system, since neither existed on the property. That's money you don't see in the finished house, but it has to be spent before anything else can happen. Framing and exterior shell, roughly 20 to 25%. Lumber prices have stayed volatile for years, hovering around $590 per 1,000 board feet, so this is the category where a simple roofline really pays off. A complicated roof with multiple gables can add tens of thousands of dollars in extra trusses and labor compared to one continuous gable roof. Windows, doors, and exterior finishes, around 10 to 15%. This is also where farmhouse style gets clever on a budget. Genuine board and batten siding in real wood is expensive and maintenance heavy. Fiber cement board and batten, the kind of material sold under brands like Hardy Board, runs about $8 to $12 a square foot, installed in 2026, and gives the exact same farmhouse look from the street for a fraction of the cost and upkeep. Plumbing, electrical, and HVAC, typically 15 to 20%. This is not a place to cut corners, and most smart builders don't. They shop multiple subcontractor quotes instead of going with the first bid, and that alone can save thousands. Interior finishes, cabinets, flooring, countertops, paint, usually 15 to 20%. This is the single biggest opportunity for personal customization without overspending. Reclaimed wood gives that warm farmhouse character at a much lower cost than buying new specialty lumber, and it can often be sourced from local salvage yards for a fraction of retail pricing. Permits, design, and miscellaneous costs, the remaining 5 to 10%, covering architectural plans, permitting fees, and the unexpected expenses that show up on every build, no matter how well you plan. Add it all together, stay disciplined at every stage, and a $250,000 budget is genuinely achievable for a real, comfortable, good-looking farmhouse, especially at this size, in this kind of region, in 2026. Part 4. The sweat equity factor. Here's something the spreadsheets don't capture well: labor. Couples who pull off these budget-friendly builds almost always do a meaningful amount of the work themselves. That might mean painting every wall and trim piece in the house, installing flooring, doing demo work, hauling materials, or even framing interior, non-load-bearing walls. It also means managing the schedule so subcontractors aren't sitting around waiting, because waiting crews charge for waiting too. This is where the years living on the land before building actually paid off. They weren't doing this part-time around a normal house and a normal job somewhere else. They were already there, every day, watching every truck pull up, catching small mistakes before they became expensive ones. That's not realistic for everyone, and it's worth being honest about that. If you've got a demanding job and you can only check on a build site on weekends, your sweat equity savings will look very different from a couple who is essentially living the build full-time. Part 5. The mistake that nearly broke the budget. No build story is honest without the part that went wrong. For a lot of these owner-led builds, the danger zone is the same: scope creep during construction. You're standing in a half-finished kitchen, you see the cabinets going in, and suddenly you want the upgraded countertop, or the slightly bigger island, or the extra window you didn't budget for. Each of those decisions feels small in the moment. A few $100s here, $1,000 there, but stacked together over a year-long build, small upgrades are exactly how a $250,000 budget quietly turns into $300,000. The builders who actually hit their target number are the ones who treat the original budget like a contract with themselves, and who build in a deliberate contingency fund, usually 10 to 15% of total cost, given how volatile lumber prices still are, specifically so that when something does go over, it doesn't derail the whole project. Part 6. Was it worth it? So after all of that, the years in a trailer, the freezing pipes, the spreadsheets, the subcontractor phone calls, was it actually worth it? For most couples who go this route, the answer comes down to something that's hard to put a price on. They ended up with a home that fits exactly how they live, on land they chose themselves, without a 30-year mortgage sized for someone else's version of a dream house. That's really the core lesson underneath all the cost breakdowns. Building affordably isn't about cutting quality, it's about cutting the things you don't actually need, so the budget can go toward the things you do. If you found this breakdown useful, this channel covers real build costs and real renovation numbers every week. No sponsored fluff, just what things actually cost in 2026. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Drop a comment with the part of this build that surprised you most, and I'll see you in the next video.